Good evening. Thank you for coming. This is the Finger Lakes Regional EMS Council meeting on January 28th, 2019. I am Diane Gary, chairperson of the council. Could we have a roll call of members, please?
Kevin Becker. Lori Green. Steve Jim.
Present.
Jackie Shaw.
Here.
Howard Ferguson.
Here.
Dan Gary.
Here.
Jason Haig.
Here.
Jeremy Harris.
Here.
Tyler Harris.
Here.
Fiona.
Here.
Danny Johnson.
Here.
Lori Lansdale.
Here.
Joseph Manchin. Joe Little.
Present.
Kate Long.
Here.
Brian Mace.
Here.
Lee McColley.
Here.
Myself. Mike Moss.
Here.
Rob Pearson.
Here.
Terry Phillips.
Yep.
Patty Rubenstein.
Here.
Chad Smith.
Here.
Matt Spool.
Here.
Ed Wood.
Here.
So,
Thank you. We're going to take a deviant from our agenda tonight. We have Mr. Scott Hotelin, who is our accountant and has presented to us our annual budget, or our audit, actually, our audit. Executive has just met, and we're bringing it to you as a seconded motion from executive, but I'd like you to hear his presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Appreciate you having us back again this year. It's always a pleasure to come up here and do this audit. You guys do a great job of keeping the financials in good shape, and it is a pleasure to deal with Donna and Leanne and everyone here to get this audit done. So I want to thank everyone for having us up front. I always say I never feel safer than I do in this room. Like, if the big one's going to hit, I want it to happen right now. You guys will take good care of me, I'm sure. No? Okay. Okay, so in front of you are three different documents. The first, there's two letters. One's 4 pages, one's 2, and then a blue financial statement. We'll just talk about the letters real quick. The smaller letter is what's called the management letter. That's the 2-page document. This is basically a letter that would, if we found any deficiencies in internal control or any material weaknesses or things of that nature that we felt needed to be brought to the attention of you guys, we would be putting that in this management letter. Our letter does not contain anything like that because we did not find anything. We believe the internal controls of the organization are operating efficiently. Cannot guarantee there's no fraud, but we found none, and we do take measures to try and find that, and we did not. Okay. The other letter is basically a letter that states our responsibilities, your responsibilities with regards to the audit. It's called a required communications letter. It goes through the scope of the audit and talks about significant estimates and management's some of the representations they've made to us and things of this nature. It's all within, typical auditing guidelines. There's nothing there I really feel we need to discuss, but that's what that is. That's the other required communications letter to you. The financial statements themselves is the blue document. This is a 15-page document. These are your financial statements. Again, I know that I probably bring this up every year, but I want everybody to understand. You produce the financial statements, we issue an opinion on them. So the only piece of this document that's mine, it belongs to me and our firm, is pages 3 and 4. That's our opinion. Okay? And our opinion on these financial statements is that they are fairly stated in all material respects with regards to the financial position and the results of operations for the year ended August 31st and the cash flows for that year also. Okay. And again, we feel that they are fairly stated, and I want to point out again, these things in August 31st. This is not as of today. This is as of that year ended August 31st. Okay. To go over the numbers a little bit, I'm sure you've seen these for the year already from management and the treasurer and things, but just in the finance committee. But just to give you an idea here, your organization has a very, very strong financial position. And by how do you judge that? You look at what you have as far as current assets versus what you have as far as what you owe. You owe virtually no one anything, which is unheard of. So congratulations. And you have approximately $300,000 in current assets. Current assets are either cash that you have or items that will be converted into cash within the next year. So receivables, the money that's owed to you, or inventories that you're going to sell, okay? So you have $308,000 of current assets versus $7,000 of current liabilities. A 1-to-1 ratio is considered healthy, right? Although that's becoming more like a 1.5 to 2. But your guys is amazing. So from a financial strength standpoint, you have a very good, strong financial position. The next page is the statement of activities. This is the equatable to the income statement for the year. Your revenues are up $70,000 from last year, about 10%. You were $652 the prior year, $721 in the current year. The expenditures, however, are also up though. $651 last year, $759 this year. In talking to the executive committee, this wasn't a surprise that there was a loss for last year, and you guys should probably be aware of that too. That from your reports that you get throughout the year, the loss last year was approximately $43,000, which of $5,000 that was depreciation. So. And the finance, the executive committee did mention to me that they had talked about that, and they've got some things in the works to try and mitigate that from happening in the future. Again, not a significant concern of ours, just because your financial position is so strong, and a nonprofit never operates truly as a nonprofit. It operates kind of positive, and next year kind of low, and that's a normal thing. So not a very big concern of ours, but I'm glad to hear that you are addressing it. The next page is the page 7. This is a comparative of where the monies were spent. So where that $759,000, the different categories that was in. You'll see salaries and wages in the program is up, textbooks is up, tuitions are up. So a lot of program costs are up is what's causing that increase, right? You'll notice that what isn't up is the administration of the organization, the management in general, or the overhead costs, if you will. That's pretty much steady in line with last year, including in the salaries category. So I don't feel that it's waste. It's probably just a matter of retooling the program a little bit there to avoid the loss. Page 8. This is a statement of cash flows that reconciles the result of the operations, or in this case, the loss of $43,000, down to how that affects the cash in the bank. It just shows the different changes in the balance sheets account that would get you to the cash that's in the bank for the year. And then pages 10 through 13, these are the standard notes to the financial statements. We go through what's called a disclosure checklist that's put out by the ASCPA to make sure that all of the required notes of an organization of your type that should be in these financial statements are here and in conforming with GAAP. And pages 14 and 15, this is a report that we are required to put in your financial statements because of the fact that the money is coming from the Department of Health. It's governmental money, so this is a report based on governmental auditing standards, and it's a report over internal control and financial reporting. Again, if we were to find any deficiencies in internal control or things of that nature, we would report them here or change our opinion here. We did not. Everything was in good shape and good order. And that's kind of the gist of the audit. I would take any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Mr. Holtown? We thank you for your time and service, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for
Look
doing
forward to
it.
being back next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
First, before he runs away.
That's probably a good idea.
Hold on. It's a seconded motion. It's a seconded motion. Okay, we do have a seconded motion from executive, that motion to accept the Vera Associate financial statement August 31st, 2018. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, thank you to Donna and Leanne too for all their help. They do a great job of putting this together for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Also, I would like to go on record for thanking Donna and Leanne. This was quite a undertaking that they work on all year long. So Thank you very much. Going back to the minutes, did everybody have a chance to read the minutes? Motion to accept? Brian made a motion. Second?
Yeah, second, Tan Smith, Yates County.
All in favor? Any opposes? Thank you. Going into our committee reports, Secretary, Mr. Miller.
Working on getting the CU County CON in place, so in the city today, I'm coming motion to receive the email, occupancy for that. Other than that, we also had the CO hearing, which was last week.
Thank you. Make a motion to accept his report.
Madam Chairman, Tim Ferguson, Ontario County, and will we accept the Secretary's report?
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Brian Mason, Ontario County, second.
All in favor? Aye. Oppositions? Moving right along into treasurer. Mr. Spruill.
Everybody got the report on the email?
Any questions for him? Make a motion. Oh, sorry, I can't make the motion.
Jason Haig, Wayne County, make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as submitted.
Bill Little, Wayne County, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving right into training and ed. Bill?
Training and Ed written report was included in the packet. Is there any questions?
Seeing no questions, do I have a motion?
Steve Duchek, Ontario County. I'll move that we do whatever with the training and education funds. Accept the training and education report as written.
Sandy Johnson, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Executive, we've been working on quite a few things. As you've noticed, we have the audit, some CONs, the conference. We hope you're all coming to the conference. So, we're busy. We're very busy. That's my report. Motion?
Olivia McKelvey, Senator County, make a motion to accept the report.
Second?
Matt Spurl, Ontario County, second.
All in favor? Public relations. We have no report.
Public relations is the conference.
Oh, would you like to tell us about that?
I printed off for everybody for the conference, if you'd like to take a look at it. We're just finishing up the actual brochure part after we got a couple of people who got back to us with the details on what they're doing. But you will see there is a different sector or section on the Friday. We have 2 tracks, and then we have a 3rd track, which is marked instructor. Because for CICs to renew their CIC every 3 years, the state has changed it to where that we are required to do a mandated state certified instructor update course, which they give us a course number. And then we have to do 5 additional instructor hours of instructor training. And it was really non-specific as to what it was going to be. For many of us, I used the American Heart Instructor Update that we did last May to get most everybody that was due this year up and running for 18. But I sent the information to Liz Donnelly at the state. Dan Batsey is coming in, and he actually has done some of the instructor sessions throughout the other conferences throughout the state. I sent what he was going to be doing and got the notification back today that she would approve them for the additional CME instructor requirements for the CIC and CLI updates. So if anybody's interested in that, take a look at that. It's geared more specifically for instructor. So, because it's hard to get everybody out and around to a little bit of everything. So we thought we would add that track in just to try to help. And it's out there for other instructors. It's not just ours. Any instructor in the state can get it. Okay? So that's the new part of it. We did cut back from 4 tracks on Saturday to 3 in an attempt to, we average usually between 100 or whatever, 125 folks that are here in that, but when you stretch it out over 4, you might get a topic or 2 that doesn't have as much interest as other ones do. And so we have some instructors that come, presenters, and they might present to 8 or 10 people, and it kind of looks a little scarce. So we cut it back. Also, the fact of trying to find another 8 instructors to do another whole track was a little extra too. So we cut it back just to see how it's going to be with the 3 tracks. And then we have, again, the 2 and the 3rd one for instructors on Friday. It's not to say that anybody can't come to the instructor ones on Friday, but it was approved specifically so that we would have our instructors get credit for it that come. And that's my report on the conference committee. And I need the conference committee to meet after this meeting very shortly, or a very short minute. Then this way we won't have to come back on Wednesday night for the next scheduled meeting.
We have a motion to accept this report.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Brian Mace made a motion to accept this report. Do I have a second?
Bill Little second.
Bill Little seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. REMAC. I think that was a report, wasn't it?
No.
Well, Jack is not here. He is before. So,
Jason, you want to cover REMAC?
Sure. REMAC met last week, business as usual for the most part. Most of what was discussed at REMAC was the highlights that were in my report from the state council meetings and the CMAC meeting. Also, we had a, I would call it a spirited discussion between Fisher's Fire and Victor Farmington Ambulance for their proposed CON, not expansion, but modification from BLSFR to ALSFR at the AEMT level. That vote from the docs came to an impasse, so that will be voted on again at the next REMAC meeting. Also, there was some action taken by the RSI committee to the REMAC. There was a list of recommended candidates for RSI training that was provided from the RSI committee to the REMAC. Those providers came forward from their agencies, undersigned by their agency ALS chief or DO and their agency medical directors. All of those were approved to move forward with RSI education by REMAC. And unless anybody has anything else, that's what I'm reporting off the cuff with an addition from Mr. Miller.
Just a clarification on Fisher's change status. Ross can expand on that a little bit. They are a municipal entity, therefore it's not a CON expansion or change through this body. The REMAC votes whether or not they approve that level,
Right.
and that level takes.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be at the REMAC. That entire letter that was submitted to the record had nothing to do with the process that was going on there. So I will be at the next meeting, and if I won't be, my supervisor will be, so we'll get that straightened out. Fisher's is applying for a municipal ALSFR, which, as you all know, will be granted upon a successful inspection. And then we'll talk about it 2 years down the road.
Madam Chairman, I think the council ought to know that REMAC is in compliance with the change to the bylaws. We have a first vice chairman of Dr. Matt Talbert, the second vice chairperson of Dr. Scott Click.
okay. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Sandy Johnson, Yates County. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Tad Smith, Yates County, second.
All in favor? Opposed? Going into State EMS Council. Jason, you're back up.
I am included in your emails were my 17 pages of notes from 2 days in Troy. Highlights from that: you can now test to be an EMT at the age of 17. if you turn 17 by the end of the month in which your written exam falls. BLS protocols were approved for the first time since 2003 with a major action by CMAC and SEMSCO. They have been forwarded on to the Commissioner of Health for final signature. The sunset date of the current protocols is August 1st, 2019. The plan is for the rollout to be statewide online. Spoke with the director this weekend down on Long Island. They're looking at a statewide learning management system that will most likely continue to be on the Moodle platform that they've been using, and that will be pushed out as a statewide online education rollout for the statewide BLS protocols. Changes to the collaboratives were voted on as well. Mainly 15 milligrams of Toradol, IV or IM on standing order, with the addition of weight-based PO, acetaminophen, and ibuprofen for use in suspected sepsis with fever and first-line non-narcotic analgesics at the level of AEMT up. Bunch of other stuff that's in my 17 pages of report. Most of that is stuff going back and forth on the protocol. A couple things from the director. He introduces new staff. There's also a deputy director for the State Bureau of EMS now for the first time in quite a while. He introduced himself, seems like a pretty good guy. Couple initiatives from the director's office is May 19th, the first Sunday of the Sunday that starts off EMS week. There's going to be more stuff getting mailed out by the Bureau. It'll be a statewide community outreach initiative to kick off EMS week from noon to 4, and the spirit of that is to not open up your base, not open up your doors, but rather take your ambulance and your people and get out in the community and interact with the community, so we can do a little bit of a better job of teaching the community who we are, what we do, what our capabilities are, and at the same time have a little bit of a recruitment opportunity as well. There'll be a couple more things included in that toolkit, and the other big push is some development of some standards of excellence at the state level, some criteria for you to meet for accreditation, not the high-level accreditation like camps and all that takes a lot of time and costs a lot of money. It'll be like a light version of that, but still attainable and setting you above the rest should you meet those criteria. And the current one that's being worked on right now due to some grant money from EMS for Children is pediatric. It's basically pediatric prepared in correspondence with the statewide initiative on EMS having pediatric emergency care coordinators that liaise with the same person at the hospital, basically to make sure they're doing a good job taking care of kids. Those are the highlights. Anything else? Open to questions.
No further questions for Jason?
Have they decided on a phrase to focus?
There's the one from NAEMSP, I can't remember what it is, but the state's working on a tagline. They're on top of that, they do have a Facebook group now, the Department of Health Bureau of EMS does. It's called, Ross, correct me if I'm wrong,
I just found it the other week.
New York State Department of Health EMS Community.
If you search groups on Facebook, put in NYS DLH-EMS, it'll come up.
Yep, it's a closed group for providers in New York State. And Director Greenberg's plan is to put out a request for a tagline for New York State EMS, and the person with the best one, I don't know, wins bragging rights or something like that. But he's going to solicit names for that, because as he put it this weekend, all the people in the central office didn't come up with anything that was good. So,
Any other questions for Jason? We have a motion to accept.
Will we accept? Go little.
Do we have a second?
Ed Wedge from Yates County, I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Moving right along to legislative review.
A couple of things from Legislative Review Committee. First of all, there is a pending bill, AB 1208, to authorize collaboratives in creating community paramedicine, something you should review. And the reminder is, it's budget season in Albany. EMS continues to move budget monies. You need to talk to your legislators, assemblymen and state senators, and talk to them about looking at possibly funding EMS a little more widely. That's my report at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Any questions on this report? Make a motion to accept.
County make a motion to accept.
Do I have a second? Patty, thank you. Patty Simon.
Eddie Pearson Simon, and I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Moving right along to program coordinators report.
Mine is basically working on the conference. John Van Auker has been a godsend. He's worth 3 times the cost he's costing us to do this.
4 or 5 at least.
At least. So, and the other big part is, obviously getting ready for this, is quarterly reports are due the end of the week. So I've been working on those to get those out and back where they belong, so we can get our money.
Obviously, this year, we're putting out our request for information from agencies again. Will probably just be the fillable PDF that we did last year. Bring all that information back. So that'll be the next virtual one.
Any other questions for the program coordinators? Make a motion.
Steve DeChick, Ontario County, I'll make that motion to accept the program meeting coordinators report as read.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Everett Ferguson, Ontario County, I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? FLCC Director's Report.
You have it.
Any questions for Donna?
Make a motion, wait a minute. Try to move it along.
As there's no questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. Steve DeChick, Ontario County, will make the motion to accept the FLCC Director's Report.
Do I have
As
a
submitted.
second?
Sandy Johnson, Yates County, second motion.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Throwing back over to Mr. Wedge, nominating committee.
Once again, we have received no applications for membership. I beg you to please go out and start talking to your constituency so that we can get those chairs that are now empty filled again.
But we
How
have
many
five.
openings do we have?
5.
45 actually.
Any other questions for Mr. Wedge? Make a motion to accept his report.
Everett Ferguson, Ontario County, move to accept the nominating committee report.
We have a
Mike
second.
Moss, Ontario County, second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving along into unfinished business.
Who starts this? The CON? That's the next committee. Okay, since Nate does not feel well, this is coming as a seconded motion from the CON committee that met. We have been dealing with a CON expansion for Canandaigua Emergency Squad to include the towns of Bristol and South Bristol, correct, Mr. Sproul? Okay. And we had the hearing on this at the Ontario County Public Safety Building. And I will read into here what the outcome was from the hearing officer, recommendation I should put it. I'll read his conclusion. It says, after carefully considering all the evidence presented relative to the application, it is the opinion of this hearing officer that a certificate of need be granted to the applicant. It is apparent that the town of Bristol would benefit by a permanent continuation of the applicant's service. An analysis of the above reference exhibits includes geography, mutual aid statistics, and staffing support the claim of need in this territory. I understand that parts of the town of Bristol are covered by Finger Lakes Ambulance, Inc., and as such, they support this application only as it pertains to basic life support in South Bristol only. In keeping with the New York State Department of Health's preference for a certificate of need without micro carve-outs in the certificate, I recommend the issuance of the certificate of need for the entire requested operating territory. It is apparent to me that the Finger Lakes Ambulance, Inc. and Canandaigua Emergency Squad, Inc. are both highly fit and competent agencies and will benefit by having each other as a resource when necessary. The economic viability of the applicant appears sound. It appears by all of the evidence presented that the competence of the applicant to provide state-of-the-art emergency medical response and transport is assured. Accordingly, I recommend that the application be granted without any limitations except such as may be contained in the application itself. Respectfully submitted, January 21st, 2019, Stephen M. Cohen, attorney. Then we have the certificate of need clarification from the state that just came. And it says the Finger Lakes Regional EMS Council has requested the Department of Health, Bureau of EMS and Trauma Systems complete a fitness and competency review of the following agency and individuals: Canandaigua Emergency Squad, Inc. for Chris O'Donnell, Rocco Pietropalo, Steve Lacrosse, Michael Riccio, and Matthew Spruill. Based on the department's investigation and review, there appears to be no bar to these entities and individuals' fitness and competency as described in Article 30, Section 3005-8 of the New York State Public Health Law of the entity and individual. This determination is based on the information provided to the department and the information contained in public record. Please feel free to contact this office if you have any questions regarding this notice. Respectfully, Dana Jonas, Health Specialist Systems 1, Bureau of Emergency Medical Services and Trauma Systems. So this requires a roll call vote. Let me run down the Tyler.
So the vote in hand for the CON expansion, Kevin Becker,
Yes.
Lori Crane, Zach, Stephen Chick,
Yes.
Jake Shaw,
Yes.
Everett Ferguson,
Yes.
Diane Gary,
Yes.
Jason Hay,
Yes.
Jeremy Harris,
Yes.
Tyler Harris,
Yes.
Fiona,
Yes.
Sandy Johnson,
Yes.
Lori Lexington,
Yes.
Joseph LaRancha, yes. Bill Little,
Yes.
Kate Long,
Yes.
Brian Mason,
Yes.
Olivia McDonald,
Yes.
myself, yes. Mike Moss,
Yes.
Miles Piercy,
Yes.
Terry Phillips,
Yes.
Chad Smith,
Yes.
Matt Spruill,
Abstain.
Ed Wedge.
Yes.
Perfect vote. Sorry. Patty,
Yes.
That is enough to pass this, so
it is 24 affirmative and 1 abstention.
To these guys who are from Bristol, do you want to add anything? Do you want to add anything, guys?
Yeah, if I could have the floor just for a second.
Yep, please
Just wanted to say
introduce
thank
yourself.
you to everyone.
Introduce
Could
yourself.
you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, Kevin Rickett, First Assistant Chief of Bristol Fire Department. I just wanted to say thank you for everyone, to everyone. It's been kind of a long road for us trying to get things figured out, and appreciate everyone and their support of this and so on.
Matt, do you have anything to say? For Canandaigua?
I guess I'd like to thank the guys that helped me put this application together. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever put together in my life, honestly, with the amount of paperwork and just the statistics and everything. One of the things I just want to make sure I let everybody know, I think one of the hardest parts putting together is that I think the collaboration between Canandaigua Emergency Squad and Finger Lakes Ambulance, helping our communities together, is very important. We all each need each other. All the EMS agencies can't do it alone with each other anymore, and I would hope that this goes forward in the future for others to see that people can collaborate together to make sure everybody gets an ambulance. So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Very good point made. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chairman, can I make a comment as the 911 director in Carroll County? I want to also tell Matt, I absolutely agree with getting an ambulance there as soon as possible. All agencies are struggling to cover calls as we see, including those who are paid. But Matt and the Kennedy Ambulance Squad do a wonderful job. Whenever we need them to provide mutual aid or, cover calls within their territory, that ambulance company is one of our go-to folks, especially in that side of the county. So I want to congratulate Matt, and as always, the Ontario County 911 will work with you to provide the best emergency response as possible. Same thing to the Bristol Fire Department as well, because we've been working with them on this indirectly as well, and with their first response program. So just putting on that hat for a minute, and I'll take it back off.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Do we have any other?
No, not any committee.
No. Any new business? Unfinished, or I'm sorry, any more unfinished business? No? Moving right along to new business.
I have two things, Madam Chair. One of the things that we are supposed to do that we failed to do was to approve annually the CON fees. We usually, it says, and we're supposed to do it at our annual meeting, which we did not do, and we quite often don't. So I gave everybody what these were. The ones here, it says on the bottom of the page, as of November 24th of 2014, they actually were updated in November of 2017. So of the same thing. So we should come back and do something as far as approving them again, effective today for forthcoming CONs or whatever.
Jason Haig, Ontario County, I make a motion that we approve the current standing CON fees for the next year.
Milton, Lynn County, second.
Any more discussion on this motion? Yes, Everett?
I just have a question. Are the fees reasonable? Or are they still? Beg your pardon?
Are they in line with the rest of the state?
Yes.
Yes.
I haven't seen what they are.
Let's just say that the state likes this.
Yeah, they're in line, they're average. Again, and we've had this discussion before, take a look at what you've done in the past. Now, obviously, prices go up. Take that into consideration. When you look at the set fees, you want to look and see what the expenditures have been previously for those types, each type of, and quite honestly, new territory expansion and conversion of a municipal, it's all the same process. They all go through exactly the same steps. The only one that's different is the transfer, and there's minimal stuff there depending on how the council does each individual council does that. But if you can look back in your records and you see that that's a reasonable deposit, then you're fine with where you're at.
Any other?
Madam Chair, call the motion.
If there's no more discussion, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Moving right along, any other unfinished?
Well, let me look here.
Or new, I'm sorry, new business.
We did send out, I sent out when we got back from the state, and then I sent a letter to all EMS agencies, BLS first responders and ALS first responders regarding the annual EMS awards, to encourage them to look at their agencies or prospective people or whatever for nominations. I asked that they be back here by Friday, March 22nd, so we could have them in order. They have to be signed by the council chairperson. And even though the submission date is a little later on the application, we will not have another full council meeting before the due date. So that's why we asked for the March meeting for approval. And if there are more than one person per category, then the council picks which one goes forward. So I did put that out to everybody. and Nate will put it out throw it out to everybody on the internet as well. And then the last thing I had to do just came from Valerie Ozega at the state. We had in August sent a letter asking them to reappoint Dr. Davidoff as the CMAQ representative for the council because we had just renewed his contract and everything in there. But we got a letter from the state, from her, asking if we could, says this is to inform you that your representative to the New York State Emergency Medical Advisory Committee, Dr. Jack Davidoff's current term expired on December 31st of 18. You may either renominate Dr. Davidoff or submit a new physician to represent Finger Lakes Remsco on the advisory committee. Please forward a letter of nomination, a current curriculum vitae, including the date of birth of your candidate, which I thought was illegal, and a short justification as to why you feel.
It's not illegal, just because of the background investigation.
Oh, all right. Why you feel your candidate is best to represent you at CMAQ. And it was due by it's due by March 1st. So we did the letter, sent it in, sent Jack's resume and his date of birth, and so it's there. And Valerie sent it back because I scanned it and sent it, and she said, thank you, I was the first one back. Probably the only time I'll be the first one for anything.
So we're all good with it?
Yes, hopefully.
We don't have to make a motion?
No.
Oh, good.
No, we did that way back here.
Okay. Moving right along. Any other new business?
Madam Chair, if I may, I did send a email out to all agency leaders on Friday regarding the pediatric emergency care program that I spoke of earlier, just talking about the PEC program with the work that I'm doing with the Pediatric Prepared State Committee. I volunteered to represent this region, and anybody that has questions on the Pediatric Emergency Care Coordinator program, let me know.
Thank you, Jason. Do we have any correspondence? I know it was brought up at REMAC Friday, May 31st. Mercy Flight Central will have their CME day, in case you want to plug that in. And March 1st, in Seneca Falls, LifeNet will be having their CME. I think it's from 7 to 9 that night. Yes, Mike?
Mercy Flight is here somewhere.
I cannot see those.
I know, she's here. So if,
Hi there.
No, she brought up your training day and stuff, and I didn't know if you had anything else or if you wanted to promote
May
that.
31st.
Yes.
Anything you want to tell us?
I have a list of, sorry, let me just punch her off in the stomach. We just got the email sent out about it. We're looking for some more speakers on top. I just have some topics going to be from 8 to 4 on that day, but I don't know where yet. So when I do, I will.
Thank you.
LifeNet's training on farm accidents, farm injury. They didn't feel that they could do it in hangar at LifeNet, so they've asked to use North Seneca ambulance training room.
Oh, cool. Good. Is that the one that's on March 1st? Okay. Any other trainings anybody wants to share with anyone? Patty, you have one coming up?
Yeah, February 21st at the Fire Training Center in Lyons. We're doing a joint training with the Office of the Aging and Youth and Alzheimer's Association. It came up with the Alzheimer's Association having a speaker come in, because not too long ago, somebody got transported by ambulance. Their spouse got left home alone for 10 days, late stage Alzheimer's, and nobody knew that this person was home alone for 10 days. So trying to go into that. Also, the aging and the Office and Youth are going to go over going into more of the adult protective services portion, as well as nursing home complaint, what we do with that, as well as what going over New York Connects, which is which is an online data where if we know like somebody needs to have their home where it's not safe for them, we can actually reach out without violating HIPAA. So that's what's going to go on. It's going to be at 6 o'clock in Lyons. If anybody would like to go, I'm just asking for an email back, which I think there was a mass email that included the majority of, I think, so.
Thank you.
What was the date? February 21st, it's a Thursday. Oh, and CME credit's going to be available for that.
Is there anything else for the committee? Anything else?
Do the bad boy report.
I didn't get any this year. We're all good people. Anything else? Do I have a motion, Mr. Lynch?
Yes, I have a motion to adjourn.
Not yet.
Jeremy here, Senator County, I second that.
All in favor? Thank you all for coming.
Good job, Jeremy.